Hello there, my beautiful Cancer signs. It's Rachel with Dark Knight Coaching. Today's video is all about you. It is all about love. This is going to be a general love message. So thank you for being here. Thanks for watching. I do see some potential new love coming in, but there's also a little bit of the past coming back, Cancer. So this reading, when I meditated on your cards, as I meditate, I listen to music. It really gets me in the zone. That's just my own personal form of preferred form of meditation. So when I was listening to the music, I kind of just play whatever comes on. It's just like a random hodgepodge of whatever I find that really resonates with the energy. And it was Gilbert O'Sullivan, I think it was, and it was called, hold on, I'm trying to find it. I think it was called Alone Again, Naturally. Yeah. And I've never listened to that song before, but it struck me. So I feel like that's a relevant song for you at this time. If you've never heard it, maybe check it out. It's very old. So, I mean, not super old, but it's a pretty old song. It seems like a classic, but I've never heard it before until now. But a lot of the lyrics match probably a lot of whatever it is you're experiencing emotionally. And you're a water sign, and there's a lot of water references in this reading for sure. And I see a lot of emotions you're going through. The first card I'm going to start with is an oracle card. This is from my Moon Oracle deck. This is the Believe in the Impossible, the blue moon. So a blue moon is when a full moon has, when a moon's in a sign 2 times in a year. So we just had a Capricorn moon 2 times. So that second full moon in Capricorn was the blue moon, and that was on July the 21st. So there might be a significant shift happening for you around that time. However, we're in Saturn retrograde right now, and when Saturn goes into retrograde, it's a very karmic shift, a karmic balance, and that's going to be taking place over the next 5 months. So if you've given out good karma, you're going to get that back. If you've been doling out not so good karma, that's going to come back and bite you as well. So that's kind of just your forewarning here. And now I do see that you are struggling a bit emotionally because there's, again, a lot of water energy. And then the moon card, that moon card came out, which is very significant. And then another moon card came out. And the moon is tied to our feminine energy. It's also tied to our subconscious energy. It is, it's a lot of things. And in this particular reading, it's definitely tied to your emotions. So the moon card says, escape from the black cloud that surrounds you, and then you will see your own light as radiant as the full moon. So if you've been, in a depressed state, if you've been really regretting or having remorse or having anxiety, Spirit really wants you to try to let go of that, to try to release that, to try to move forward. And that can only start with you. And the next card I have, nobody really likes to hear this card. It's ownership, which is, this is accountability essentially. It says you acknowledge your misdeeds and accomplishments alike and learn to love them all as a lesson. So people come into our lives as a lesson or a blessing. And if you are wise, you can find both. Sometimes that means finding the silver lining, even in the worst possible situations. And you may not always be able to do that. And that's perfectly okay. That's just human. That's it. That's being human. And that's having the ability then to turn that ownership or accountability into a form of radical acceptance, where you just accept it was radically not okay what happened to you, but you can still move out of a victim mentality, out of this martyr state, and move on into something else. Now, the Wisdom Oracle card I pulled for you, Cancer, was go to the sea. This is the sea of contemplation. Maybe you need to do some salt baths or some Wim Hof. What can I call that? It is when you do Wim Hof, it can be a meditative thing, but in this case, it could just be clearing your somatic energy. So there's a couple different forms of somatic healing. You can do flame glaze. I can't even speak. Maybe your throat chakra is messed up today. flame gazing. That's a very popular way to heal. It kind of rewires your brain a bit. There's also some fun psychedelic type things you can do that can help you rewire neurons in your brain. You just have to Google some studies by Paul Stamets. That can be a helpful thing. It's scientifically proven. They've done a lot of research about rewiring your brain and your neural pathways, because what happens when we go through trauma, cancer, is our brain literally is damaged by those traumatic experiences, and it becomes a form of PTSD, and then that impacts how you think, how you move, how you feel, how you do a lot of things. And I feel like that's kind of what you're feeling here. But as another confirmation, I have the siren card. So not only do you have like this woman in a boat, you have this mermaid card as well. Now the siren is typically a symbol of singing, right? So maybe you need to sing, maybe you need to hum, maybe you need to start chanting. Maybe that's your form of meditation, and do it in the shower, do it in the bathtub. Maybe that could be therapeutic to you, for you. Go listen to that song. I do feel like that's a very relevant thing for you. And don't be afraid to like sing out loud or hum out loud or sing in your car or do whatever. Like, who cares? Like, sing like no one's listening. And if they are, like, whatever, what are they going to do? Now, the next card I have is I am safe to be my true, authentic self. If you have a problem with being genuine, if you have a problem with being authentic, this is your sign. You know, the part of coaching, life coaching, spiritual coaching, authenticity coaching, that is difficult is when you're not being honest. Because when you're not being honest with anyone else, you're also not being honest to yourself. And that's a real disservice to yourself, because it's like you create illusions based on false narratives that you've told other people that basically you end up telling yourself, and it creates chaos. It creates a web of lies and deceit and betrayal that you get trapped in. And it can be just an overall negative vibe if you're not being authentic. So try to lean into whatever that means for you, Cancer. Now, the chakra card I pulled for you, I pulled 2 cards, which I usually don't do, but they flew out, so I took them both. It's the perfection is, we'll do perception. The perception card is about your heart chakra, following your heart, how do you see things. And then the red perfection card is about your root chakra. So this is about how do you feel, stable, balanced? Are you aligned with your highest self? Because this card says that you are on that way, you're on the way, you're on the trajectory here. I do feel like you're probably the furthest and the closest you've ever been in alignment to your highest best self. So sometimes that's a good thing. And I mean, all the times that's a good thing. And sometimes it can mean like, you know, you're not quite done yet. Like, we're never done growing and learning. And I do feel like you're battling your emotions at this time with all of that moon energy and all of the water energy. And I think it's just tied to accountability. So you have to see like the role that you played in a love situation that got you to where you are. And that could be also acknowledging your mother wounds, your father wounds, going back to childhood and seeing why you've been attracted to certain people. Because most of the time, if you pay attention, you're drawn to people who are like your family, and that is so you can go back and you can be triggered, so you can heal the wounds, so you can do the inner work, so you can do the shadow work, so you can contemplate and really understand why you choose to do things a certain way, and have that ability to have the reflection and the self-awareness. And that's how you do grow, that's how you do align, and that's how you do perceive things in a happier and a healthier way. And that does get you to this state of perfection. It does get you to this higher self, this higher timeline where you can transmute and alchemize the pain or the trauma of the past and move forward. Now I'm going to dive into tarot, and then I have a couple other love cards for you. The past is the Hermit. This is a major chapter. This is like the introspection, the self-understanding, the self-awareness, trying to do that healing. The present is the 6 of Wands. That is sailing into calmer seas, getting out of this like choppy waters into just somewhere that's going to bring you peace. And I think that's, again, doing that introspective work, doing the understanding all of the facets of yourself, the good and the bad and the ugly, and accepting that. Now, your future is the death card. This doesn't have to be like someone in your life is expiring. This can be the death of a lifestyle, the death of a dream, the death of it could be the death of a love that you finally let go of. And I had a clarifier card I pulled for it. It's the Two of Wands. This is making a new plan. This is a new path, a new chapter, a new journey, a fork in the road, essentially. And you've maybe you chose, or maybe you were given no choice, but it is happening for you. Now, the underlying subconscious energy when it comes to your reading was the Emperor and the Two of Cups. I don't know why I was drawn to pick two cards for your energy subconsciously, but I did. So the Emperor is all about the divine masculine, tapping into that energy, and we all have divine masculine, we all have divine feminine, so it doesn't matter if you're man or woman or they, them, who's it, what's it, galore watching this. It's about you tapping into your masculine side and really stepping up and taking ownership and taking accountability for where you are in your life at this time. If you're an adult watching this, you can't really blame anybody but yourself to an extent about the choices that you've made to get where you are. And now the Two of Cups is a coupling of some sort, so subconsciously you want a relationship with someone, and I do feel that because the love cards I pulled for you are very much so nostalgic and dreamy when it comes to love. So the first card says, will you listen? There are so many things I want to say to you, but will you hear me all the way, and will you believe me? Again, this is why I think there's somebody from the past, maybe Cancer, that you're kind of stuck on or not quite over, or maybe you didn't get closure from, and maybe that's a sign that you need to communicate with that person. And then the next card I have is You're My Favorite. You're the person I want to call when something good or bad happens. The first thought I have to share news, you're my person. And, that could be that same person. That could be your energy or their energy. So take that as it resonates. And the last card says, you are so special. You're truly divine. I've never felt energy like yours before, and I can't get enough. So whoever this is, whoever's feeling this, if it's you, if it's them, I do think this is a sign for you or for them to reach out to maybe try to have a conversation. I think that might be helpful at this time for the both of you if you feel so driven. So take that as it resonates, but if it doesn't, that's okay too. But thanks for being here, Cancer. That's all I have for you in regards to this love reading. I do feel like self-love is the most important type of love that the collective generally needs at this time, because most of the readings that I've done so far have been primarily about self-love. It's not for the most part, it's not been a very romantic time frame. It's been a more of like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and get going, because there's a lot of change happening, and the change doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And sometimes that's a hard pill to swallow, but we're all in this together, Cancer, and there are positive things as you work through this chapter, as you go through this healing, and you learn how to regulate your emotions, because a lot of the time I find people are reactive and not responsive, and that's just an indoctrinated, cultural, almost like a condition that we have been trained to ignore our own emotions and feelings. So if you have a hard time acknowledging what you're feeling, I would suggest that you can write down like 5 feelings a day when you're having those feelings. That will get you in the process of understanding yourself and coming to know, like, hey, this is what I'm feeling. Why am I feeling this? And then you can kind of almost see your triggers at that point. So that might be a helpful practice for you, Cancer. But that's what I have for you. Hopefully this helped. If it did, please hit the like button and subscribe. If you're interested in a one-on-one coaching session, please feel free to reach out to me. Or if you're interested in an individualized tarot reading, I can do that as well. But I will see you next time.